What up, sports world? We're back at it again. Episode 2 of Two Sides to Opinion podcast. I'm the host with the most. I got my two guys with me, Coach Josh and Jones. What up, guys?
Wahaha.
Going on, young man?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got a
we
lot
got a
to
lot to
talk
talk
about.
about with Baltimore. Yeah,
Don't do that.
I'll
Don't
talk
even get started right now, bro.
that purple and black baby.
Don't even get it
Yeah,
started yet, man. But first, if you guys haven't, go ahead, hit that click like and subscribe button to keep you updated. That's not actually it. But go ahead, hit that click like and subscribe button so you get all the new information, the new all drops when we come in. That way you keep up with what we got going on. So let's go ahead and get this thing started like we supposed to. First thing first. Which team impressed you in week 1? Coach Josh, go ahead and get it started, man.
The team that impressed me. I'm gonna say Philadelphia. And coming off a Super Bowl, I would have thought maybe they would have been a little tired, kind of like with all the games last year. You're playing the Cowboys. They just made a big trade with Parsons to Green Bay, so they was kind of playing. I'm gonna kind of say with a chip on their shoulder because they actually played really well, but Philly just looked good. So that's the team that impressed me.
What I'll say from that thing is I thought the Cowboys played fairly well in that game as well, even with
Yeah.
missing Micah Parsons. I thought Jalen Hurts played exceptional. That's the
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts that's going to take them to another Super Bowl, in my opinion, if he plays exactly like that.
Smooth. He was smooth.
Yeah, agreed.
yeah. Well, one thing I'd add to that, man, is moving forward, they're gonna have to get AJ Brown involved. Um, I don't think he had a catch until like the third quarter or something to that nature.
Fourth quarter.
Yeah, fourth quarter, right? So they didn't really get him going until late in the game. So I'm sure they'll figure it out. But in order for that locker room to be steady, in order for that locker room to be good without turmoil, they're gonna have to get him the ball because we see what it looked like, the last couple of years when they didn't get him the ball and when he wasn't involved in that offense. He started going on the podcast and speaking out, right? And some of that stuff you just got to keep in the locker room. The coach itself kind of got blasted for not being able to wrangle or make sure that his team was together, for the lack of a better term. So, they're gonna have to get him involved early and often, and him and Devontae Smith, if I'm being honest.
Agree.
Yeah.
No, I agree. My man was out there. Remember, he was out there reading books.
Listen,
The silent killer.
I'll go ahead and take the next one. For me, it was the coach. Whether we like it or not, that boy Danny Dimes threw for 272 with 1 touchdown, along with another 2 on the ground. And JT did what he was supposed to do with adding 71 yards. Michael Pittman Jr. looked like a number 1. He had 6 receptions, 1 touchdown. The defense did what they were supposed to do, which I feel like going to be their calling card. But if you can get this play from Danny Dimes, the coach gonna be fine, man. I think with the Texans losing and the way they looked, the coach looked impressive. The coach looked impressive.
I told you the Texans, man. They didn't look like the Texans last year. They had more injuries this time this week. So I know you had said last week, that they're healthy and they're not going to have the same injuries. But look where we're at, right? And they already didn't look well polished at the beginning of the season. Now, a lot of teams, don't play starters during the preseason they hold their starters. So a lot of these teams nowadays, especially with 3 preseason games, they get off to a slow start. But as we all know in the NFL, you really can't get off to a slow start and then try to ramp it up, because then you'll just miss the playoffs. So, but one thing I'll say about your take is, bad organizations, man, sometimes they don't know how to develop talent, and they don't know how to evaluate talent. And I'm not saying that Danny Dimes, is going to be a world beater, right? But if you look at what he did against Miami, of course it was a team collective, but he went out there and showed that he's a serviceable quarterback, right? And the Browns, right, did the same thing, right? We had Baker Mayfield. Baker was probably one of the better quarterbacks that we've had. We thought we could do better. We went out, got Deshaun Watson. We all know how that turned out. Baker bounced around with a couple of teams until he found the spot, right? And he found a system that worked for him. But at this point right now, I know New York, like the Browns, is looking back and they're like, oh man, especially with the game that Russell Wilson had. I don't know if anybody will talk about that, but let Russ cook. Back when they were saying that, he was making filet mignon, gold potatoes, rust potatoes, asparagus, right? Broccolini, 7-course meals. But now when you say let Russ cook, we talk about top ramen, right? We talk about something he put in the microwave, right? So at this point, that's what I would say to that.
So while we at it, let's go ahead and get your impressive team for the week.
Yeah, no. So my impressive team, I talked about this team last week. So I think, y'all thought I was crazy, but I'm talking about the Chargers, man. Justin Herbert looked good. He looked composed. He looked like he knew the offense. He hit multiple receivers. He got Keenan Allen involved. The
Quentin
defense
Johnson
looked good.
Quentin Johnson was dropping balls. He was catching balls. Yes.
Right. So, the team looked good. I think they're ready. I think they're coached well. I don't think there's going to be any time management issues. I think they're going to get them in and out of the correct plays. I think that, Harbaugh is going to be able to look at the game, get a good feel for the game, and call the game correctly for Justin, man. So
here's what I'll say about that win. I feel like while it's a great win, if you want to catch a team, you always catch a team early. I feel like when you catch a team early, especially in week 1, you have a better chance at getting a win you're not supposed to get. One thing I will say about the Chiefs, they don't have that star receiver that scares you anymore. There's no Tyreek Hill. There's no Rice because he's suspended. You don't know if Baby drops. You don't know if Baby drops, go catch the ball. And if you guys don't know who Baby drops is, it's Hollywood Brown. You don't know if he go catch the ball or if he go look at it and catch a hard TD. You don't know what you go get from him. And then, like you said, Worthy went down running into his own teammate in Kelsey, and Kelsey is not starting. Kelsey's over the hill. So we saw exactly what he looked like and what that team looked like. Their calling card is going to be on defense. And like we always say, if you can get the offense on par early, you got a good chance at taking some wins you're not supposed to take. So
yeah, pretty much.
Well, one thing I'll add to that though, man, is both you gentlemen know, in the NFL, man, once you start winning, right, you start building momentum, and then the atmosphere in the locker room changes. So they feel like, listen, if we can beat Kansas City, we can beat anybody. Because Justin Herbert threw for 318, 3 touchdowns, right? So like I said, he played a really good game.
Don't he have the most yards for the week though?
No, stop playing.
Who?
318? That wasn't the most, but
because everybody wasn't throwing that much this week.
Yeah.
Well, there was one team that was throwing in the fourth quarter.
Anyways. Anyway.
Well, yeah, that fourth quarter, boy, that team was. Woo.
Anyways, guys.
Buffalo
let's get to our
wings
next
everywhere.
topic. Okay, y'all go. I've been catching this
Buffalo.
flack. I've been catching this flack for the last few days. I'm only gonna take it so much longer. All right, guys. The player who caught your eye, good or bad? I'll go ahead and start that off. And I'm gonna lean in with Justin Fields. In a losing effort, Justin Fields balled out. This is the Justin Fields that we wanted to see in Chicago and them build around so we could see exactly what he looked like last Sunday. Well, dude threw for what? He was 16 to 22 for 218 yards and a touchdown. He had a 44, he had 48 yards on the ground along with 2 TDs. And if you watch that game, you can clearly see he had command of the offense. He had no trouble using his legs when he needed to use them. If they get this Justin Fields for the rest of the season, I can see them sneaking into the playoffs. Like for real. I can truly see them sneaking in. What y'all think?
Playoffs? Yeah. Look at how they look this week, but I don't know. They lost the game too, though. I mean, they gave up what, 34 points?
32, I think.
I thought it was 34 32.
You might be right. Yeah. 32,
Yeah.
34, 32. Yeah. Well, you got I want to say they missed what, 2 field goals?
Yeah.
Dude fumbled on the kickoff, who put him right there at the 15 or the 10. So, I mean, there were some mistakes made in that game, and I felt like, honestly, they were the better team. But we all thought before the start of the season, we all thought that the Steelers and that defense would be a lot better than what they looked. And we also know that running quarterbacks give Mike Tomlin a hard time sometimes. So I don't know what they're going to look like when they face that team in purple and black and number 8 comes strolling through. But I don't know, man. It's going to be weird.
Yeah. So what I would say about the Jets, we were just talking about it, right? The momentum. And we talk about the momentum going the other way, right? So you start losing early, right? Especially a game you thought you were supposed to win. Young quarterback, new team, right? New offensive scheme, trying to get your legs under you, learning your receivers, getting your timing down and things like that. Some of this stuff starts to snowball, right? Because when you lose games that you thought you were going to win or you were supposed to win, for young teams, new coaching staff and things like that, especially with Justin Fields, the way he's been treated throughout his NFL career, he might start thinking, man, can I really do this, right? Even though he had a phenomenal game, at the end of the game, it still wasn't enough. So hopefully the young man can keep his head about him. He can look at the game, analyze it, see it for what it was, understand that it wasn't his fault that they lost, and they can continue to build some good momentum. But
let me interject with what you just said. I agree with that to a certain extent because you got to remember what he went through when he was in Chicago.
That's what I'm talking about.
He was getting beat up.
That's what I'm talking about.
And he had very good success. I believe that this was, you got to remember, new coach, new coordinator, new team.
Right. Yep.
I felt before coming in after seeing, thinking about what the Steelers are supposed to look like. They didn't hold up to that at all. He pretty much splashed and dashed him. He pretty much he pretty much put on a show. And
he did. Saying, absolutely,
if they can get this version of him throughout the rest of this year, and Aaron Glenn figure out a way to get that defense to play a little bit better, and they make fewer mistakes, I could see them sneaking in.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say this too. And I know it sounds cliche because people say it all the time, but it still holds true, right? Bad teams still got to learn how to win, right?
Oh, agree.
And they got to learn how to play.
Good teams got to learn how to win.
Well, good teams have learned how to win, right? And bad teams, you saw it with the Jets. They were up, and I'm sure people were leaving the game. I'm pretty sure people started turning and watching other games, right? Because it looked like the game was out of hand, and it turned out that they ended up losing the game. So the Browns, we know all about that, being up on teams, and then you turn to TV or you turn to another game and you flip it back 3 minutes later, you down 20. So with 4 minutes left or 2 minutes left in the game, because Joe Flacco and the Jets did that to us a couple of years ago, right? I think we was up by 21, and I turned the game off and then looked at SportsCenter the next morning, and they were like, "Oh, well, the Browns lost." I was like, "How? There's no way." So, bad teams have to learn how to win, right? And I think you also proved my point, right? With all the losing that he did when he was in Chicago, the way they treated him, he got to get that. He got to get that losing mentality out of his system, right? And we'll talk about this here in a minute. But there was another team that was down, right? And you look to the sideline, they panned over to him. He had the death look on his face. He was telling his team, "Listen, the game ain't over," right? And he went out there, and they did what they did. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. I don't want to do too much, but yeah.
Go ahead, Coach.
That's where I'm at.
Who's the player that caught your eye, good or bad?
Well, I got. It's only. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish.
No, I think you're next up. Go ahead.
Well, two players caught my eye, and these two players, if they could really have a good season, their team will make a deep, deep, deep run. And that's Wagner and Miller from the Commanders. They had some kind of hole on that game the other day that they made that Commanders defense just look just a little bit different. And I was like, Philly may have a little problem with these cats for that division. And I'm like, man, Von Miller don't look that old. Wagner don't look that old. So they caught my eye. And not because they had all kind of stats, or it just looked like they just had a command of the defense. Like it really looked, and I hate to say this, but it looked like a Super Bowl defense. So I was impressed with those two, and with Von Miller, because I didn't really think Von Miller had nothing left in the tank like that. But man, he looked good the other day.
Here's what I say, and no disrespect to the Commanders, but they probably playing one of the worst teams in the NFL. The Giants don't know if they want to continue with Russ or start the young kid. I'm assuming they go get through this. They go get through this early murderous road that they got going on with the Eagles and a couple other hard teams, and then I believe he'll come in and.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask both of y'all this. What's the point in starting Russ when just about all three of the quarterbacks making the same amount of money?
You're trying to still win. Yeah, but the whole thing was they already had whispers about Russ. Do we still have it? Do we done? And then he on a cheap contract. So it wouldn't be nothing to start the young boy. Like, it really wouldn't be nothing to start the young boy and to see what kind of life he has. Because Russ look like he don't have no wheels. I'm gonna give you a prime example. Last night before Minnesota put it together, that young kid looked lost. He looked lost. They were sending blitz after blitz after blitz after blitz, and this was only in the first half.
But you could have started Andy Dalton.
And he was lost. Like he was
Yeah,
lost.
But you could have started Andy Dalton. But what's the difference
Because
in starting Andy Dalton and JJ McCarthy?
Because JJ McCarthy had an extra year. You got to remember that.
No. Not that part.
Yeah, so I mean, so that year, so really quick, let me address that. So the year that you're talking about, he was hurt, he was injured. So I mean, yeah, he could take mental reps, but he's not really.
Yeah,
I mean, he really wasn't active in participating in practice, right? Getting ready for an NFL season to be a professional. So what I'll say to the question that you just posed, the most glaring thing and the reason that they're behaving the way they're behaving is the same thing that the Browns are doing, right? And if you look at it, these coaches are on the hot seat, right? So really, who's it, Dable, that's over with New York? So
yeah.
Really what's happening is Dable and Kevin Stefanski on the hot seat. So they have to win. So they have to win a certain amount of games to make it look like they're viable coaches, but they can't win so much that that they mess up the draft. But they can't win, or they can't lose so much that they don't look competent as a coach, right? So I think, to your point, Marcus, they still want to win, right? But how much winning are they really going to do? And, and specific to New York, I think Dable has lost the locker room. I'm not really sure how I feel about him as a person, right?
Well, I would say this too. Just to sorry to cut you off, but exactly where you were and what you were saying is, if you start that young kid and it just goes south and he's just getting hit and getting beat up, then you have nothing to look forward to the rest of the season. You start Russ in that murderous row that they got coming up, which is kind of difficult because they got the Cowboys on Sunday, I believe. Am I correct? Yeah, I think so. And you hope you can get 1 or 2 wins out that murderous row if possible. And then when you get to a part of your schedule where you feel it's a little bit easier, or you hit the bye week and you're able to get the kid 2 weeks of reps to get him ready, then you'll see him get entered. He's gonna play this year. We just don't know when. But I feel like they're going to try to get through this murderous row before they start him. So,
okay. So let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
So what's the point in having a GM? Like, what's the weak point for the New York Giants? Why this kid can't start now? Like, is it the offensive line? Is it the skill position? What is it?
I would say it's coaching. I think with the coaches that they have and the things that they've done, they are being really cautious on their end, and they know, like Jones said, Kevin Stefanski too. They know if they start an old QB and it's not working out, we can go, oh, we got the young kid in our back pocket. Let's get him going. They put the young kid in, they win 2 or 3 games. They can go back to management and say, hey, look, this is how we looked with the young kid that came in. Hey, we got something to work with. I get another year. If they start the young kid, he gets beat up, there's nothing you could put on the card table that's going to keep their job. You guys got to remember a couple of years ago with the Chicago quarterback, Williams, remember he started, he was out that door quick. I believe Tua and his coach
Caleb Williams
too, but yeah,
that was last year though.
Yeah, they didn't start anybody else. They started Caleb.
Yeah, and I mean,
horrible out the door. There's nothing. That's why you don't start the young kid first. But Caleb Williams,
I'm not drafting kids third to ride the bench for 3-4 weeks, and then you be like, okay, I mean, Russ, be a backup quarterback. If we need you a couple games, then we need you a couple games.
Well, those
But
are the
these
couple
people
games they
should.
need him.
But hey, well, this is where we at though. So Minnesota's situation is different, right? The coaching staff isn't in jeopardy of losing their jobs,
No,
right?
no,
So
he
they can,
might be the
so
best
they,
coach in the league.
yeah. So he has the leeway, right, to start a young guy, right, work through all of the ups and downs that he's going to have through this NFL season, right? Because like Marcus pointed out, that game he had last night, that's going to be his first season. It's going to be up and down, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna have slow starts where he look bad. He's gonna throw a pick six, right? And then he's gonna have a game that's just like that, and ain't gonna be no recovery, right? Because they're not gonna be playing Caleb Williams on the other side. So you play another team, you give them, 7 points, right? And then they start piling on you, right? It's gonna be an 8-33, outcome, right? So he's gonna have some ups and downs, but that coaching staff has the ability to work with this young man, develop him over the season, right? Work with him in the off season. But, the coaching staff over there in New York, they're making these decisions because they want to still be coaches next year, right?
Yeah, they need to go be coaches somewhere else.
Yeah. So the decisions that they are making is not necessarily because they want to develop this young man.
Yeah.
And it may not necessarily, to Marcus's point, be because they're trying to develop him and save him from the NFL and give him the opportunity to kind of see what a work week looks like. How do you prepare, right? What days do you look at film and things like that. I think a lot of the decisions that they're making are emotional based, right? Because no one wants to get fired, right? And no one wants to get fired in the middle of the season. However, if they continue to put this same type of product out there, I can see them getting fired in the middle of the year. And New York typically doesn't do that. But if it gets bad enough, they will fire him. And what's worse about that whole situation is the fact that Jackson Dart is now in the crosshairs, because if they bring in a new coach, right, Jackson Dart is not their guy. So they might give him an off season to show something, right? But they might have it in the back of their head like Sean Payton did with Russ, right? Well, listen, this ain't my guy, right? He wants his own parking spaces. We ain't doing all that, right? So we're gonna let him go, and then we're gonna draft Bo Nix, and then we're gonna start over, right?
And
so Jackson Dart might be gone before he even really get started if this coaching staff can't get it together. But that's all I'll say about that.
Here's what I say. I do believe once they put him in, I think he's gonna show a little something. I think he's gonna save their job just for the next year for them to get fired after that.
But that's only.
I don't think so. I think they gone. I think Neighbors gonna get them gone. Me.
If they win 5 games with Jackson Dart as the quarterback, as the starting quarterback, how do you not give that coach and his coaching staff another year by saying, hey, all right, we saw what you did. You put them in week 7. We won 5 games. Okay. All right, we'll give you another year, because you don't want to draft another quarterback. You want to start building pieces around him in the aspect of maybe improving the O-line or getting a running back that's an animal. So you kind of want to see just progression in the aspect of that quarterback and coaching staff together. And if you can get that, then you, like I said, you get another year. You go to the table with, look, we might have started slow with Russ, but look what happened when we put Jackson Dart in with after week 7, because I believe that's when he's gonna come in, and they gonna put him in against somebody that's not very difficult.
But a real owner would have asked, like, why you didn't start him from the beginning, and maybe we could have won an extra 5 games.
They already had that discussion. That's
and this is the
I already had.
Yeah, and this is the whole thing though. So the whole season is a wash anyway.
That's how they felt. That's why they did it. Yeah. That's why they did it.
So 3 teams we know for sure not gonna make the playoff: the Saints, the Giants, and the Browns.
Well, sir, listen. Hey, we don't know that.
Hey, man. Hey,
yeah, we do. Yeah, we do know that.
He like the robber who get caught. He called you on the phone talking about we got caught.
Yeah,
yeah,
hey, we got caught.
Yeah, they about to get what you call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they about to
Yeah.
get fired.
But who you got,
Yeah.
Jones? Who you got as the player?
So
that caught your
the
eye?
player that caught my eye, and it's like I said, it's only one real answer to this question, in my opinion, and that's Mr. Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh Lord. I thought Marcus would have said him. I was waiting for that.
I called it though.
I mean,
called it.
do we need to go down the stats? 114 yards passing,
Nah, we don't even.
one touchdown, 2 interceptions.
I mean,
You know, they said that was
I think
his.
he had like 2 fumbles lost. Did he have 2 fumbles lost?
Yeah, 2 fumbles. Yeah, it was
sometimes less words is saying more.
51.7 51.7 passer rating. Right. That whole organization is in turmoil right now. From the players to the coaches, to the leadership, to the quarterback. And Tua, that was the worst game I've ever had the ability to watch him play.
So I'm gonna give y'all a little something that me and Coach Josh talked about last year. He asked me, would you pay Tua? And I told him no. You remember that?
Yeah.
I said I wouldn't pay Tua, and this is why I wouldn't pay Tua. I felt like after all the injuries, like don't get me wrong, when he was healthy and that team was fully stocked and ready to go, he was the engine that made them go. But for the most part, man, that's a very bad look, not only for him, but Tyreek Hill and the coaching staff. That coaching staff, I don't think go. But I told y'all, I felt like they wouldn't go make it through the year.
They got a good GM, bro. I ain't gonna lie, they got some players that's at that place. They got some players. Now the coaching, yeah, man, I'm starting to get on your side now.
Well, so and that's what we're talking about, right? So, you know, I've talked to plenty of people and they tell me that, you know, coaching doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
Like hell it doesn't, right? I mean, because you can have, like Coach said, you know, great players on your team, but you look at the roster and you say, oh man, they should be winning, right? They should be winning big. They should be winning by 10, 15 points every week, right? You got stud wide receivers, you got a stud running back, right? You got a serviceable quarterback, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, you know, why isn't it working anymore? And I think, you know, the NFL has caught on to what Miami does, what the coaching staff really wants to do, shifts, motions, and things like that. So what I will say is we will be able to tell what Miami Dolphins team we're going to see for this 2025 season next week. And if they come out and they look like they did this week, then you can go ahead and, like they say in New York, go ahead and pack them up.
Yep, pack them up just like that.
That you can, because they look bad, man. Woo, they look bad.
All right, let's go to our next topic, man. It's a sad topic for me. Which team disappointed you in week 1? I'm gonna go last on this one, guys. So I'll let you guys go ahead and go first.
You might need to go first on this one.
You might need to go first. I think because I think that's all our disappointment.
Yeah, no, I'll go first on this one, man. I'll make it short and sweet. So it was a toss up between me. It was a toss up for me between Miami and the Browns. But since we just talked about Miami, I'm gonna go with the Browns. You know,
let's pause. Let's pause right there.
Go ahead.
I felt the Browns played very well. They had the 2 turnovers, bro. Those aren't typical Joe Flacco turnovers. Those are hitting guys in their hands and they're trying to dive and they pop it up and interceptions, right? I thought y'all defensive wise, I said, I told you them was animals because you was like, oh man, because they scored on the first drive. Where's that D line you was talking about? Then after that, they start doing what they do.
Right.
I don't feel the Browns were anywhere close to a disappointment. Did they lose? Yes, but their offense isn't caliber enough to hang with the big boys, and I think that's going to be their fall eventually. But no disappointment on my end. I'm just telling you that there is no
Sure.
disappointment on my end.
So, well, let's talk about it, right? So you said the 2 interceptions, right? And you said it was not a disappointment. So Jerry Jeudy is your wide receiver number 1, right? Led the NFL in drops last year. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Back at it.
Oh, well, you got paid a big contract, right? So Joe Flacco throws a downward angled ball, right? He has to jump for the ball, right? He put the ball in a position to where only the receiver would be able to get it. Okay. How did Cincinnati get it?
Your boy doing gymnastics with the ball.
So you're number one. That's disappointment. You're number 1 wide receiver. We pay you big money, right?
You guys gave up what, 17 points?
Yeah, it was 17-16. But hold on, let me finish. Right? Cedric Tillman, right? Same thing, right? Coming from the other angle. Had to listen. You can't make this up, right? And Joe Flacco gonna throw 2 interceptions, but those wasn't even his interceptions.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But they made sure that he got 2 interceptions, right? Walk with me, right? Cedric Tillman, right?
Yeah.
Interception. Jerry Jeudy again. Game on the line, 4th and 5, right? Quick slant across the middle, right? He's past the yard marker. That's a first down. Boop. Missed the ball, right?
Is he Mr.
Myles
Butterfingers now?
Myles Garrett, Mason Graham, that whole defensive line went after Joe Burrow, gave them another opportunity, right? And they still couldn't do it. Now, and here's the thing. This is why it's a disappointment on a lot of different levels. Because you're right, we didn't go after top wide receivers. That's a GM thing, right? So that's the Browns as an organization. That's a loss, right? When we think we're doing good, right, and we think we go out and get a stud running back in Quinshon Junkins, right? He can't play because off the field issues, right? And here's the whole reason why it's a disappointment, because they gave that game away. Cincinnati did not win that game, right? And when you have one of the toughest schedules in the league and you're up and you're leading, well, when you have the ability to come back and win the game, you got to do that. So when we were talking about New York and they're losing culture and they got to figure out how to win, we got to figure out how to win. And it don't matter. So for the Browns, every week is something different, right? So this week, offense was okay. Defense played amazing. Special teams trash, right? Like, ain't no way you can just miss back-to-back hits like that. And they 30-yarders. Like, you got one job, brother. You got one job. You get paid money to do one job, right?
Agreed.
Okay.
Still to me, not a disappointment.
It's a disappointment because
I agree.
That's a winnable game, and we're not gonna win too many this year.
Okay, you know
right?
what? I agree, but I'm gonna still disagree with you on this one.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But I'm
go ahead, Coach Josh. Who's your disappointment? Who's your disappointment team for the week, man?
I don't mean to jump anybody, but the Browns. Myles Garrett. He's not only the best defensive player up in the league, might be the best player in the league. He commands three. Man, they are chipping this dude. Banging this dude up.
Can I pause y'all for a second? Let me pause you for a second. And I just need you to answer me this one question. Would you rank that offense that the Browns currently have on the higher side or the lower side in the tier of NFL offenses?
Hold on. Say that one more time.
Where would you so there's 32 teams. Would you have them in the top 16 or the lower 16 of that offense that they currently have?
Oh Lord. I'm not gonna lie to you.
This is why I say it's not a disappointment, because I didn't expect very much from that offense, but I felt they did enough to win, and even though they didn't win, I feel like they have something moving forward. Even though I know you, and this is Jones' team. If you guys don't know, he's a brownie. He's a brownie. That's him. But I get what you guys are saying. And defensively, and you know I hate y'all corners. You know I hate y'all corners, and they played their butts off. I give them that. They
Then they
played
got
really
money.
well. They played
Jones,
really well.
don't they got money though? Like to go get like one or two players like to help out?
So here's where
Bro, that's
the
crazy to
Browns.
me, man.
Well, this is where the Browns are in a pickle, right? They guaranteed Deshaun Watson $230 million. Okay,
Yeah.
that was fully guaranteed, and that has messed up the salary cap so much that we don't have the ability to go out and really get premium players from in the offseason if we're talking about free agents, right?
Okay.
So then we have to look to the draft, and then instead of doing what normal teams do, right, and pick a premium player when you're at number 2, we trade the pick away, and then we collect more draft picks, and the Browns have not. Well, I won't say the Browns have not, but Andrew Berry has not proven that he can draft well enough to get premium talent at premium positions for the Browns. So, and that's another reason why it's a disappointment for Browns fans, Marcus, is the fact that I think this is where Josh was about to go with it, is the fact that we got Myles Garrett, right? We just paid him an extension. I think Myles Garrett is 29 years old. We are wasting that man's talent. We are wasting the peak years of Myles Garrett. And listen, I know there may not be a lot of expectations, but it's the beginning of the season. Everybody got hope, right?
No, I agree.
Dallas had hope, but we know they ain't gonna win.
I'm just
Right?
saying they wasting probably the best talent in the league. And we can look at other people that has talent like that. Like, man, we talk about Burrow. He got Chase. We talk about Mahomes. He got somebody else. Myles Garrett is like really Superman out there, bro.
Yeah.
Like, me and Marcus used to talk about Lamar Jackson. And I'm like, yeah, he got help, but he ain't got that help. Now he got Derrick Henry. And I'm like, hey, this ain't no more wild card team. But Myles Garrett is like, bro, like that just make you mad.
Well, it feel like the Rams and I forget his name. What was his name? Defensive tackle, Aaron Donald, right?
Yeah.
Aaron Donald almost retired before they got their act together and start doing the right things and making the right moves to go get Matt Stafford to go win a Super Bowl before he actually decided to retire. So I feel like the Browns are doing the same thing with Myles Garrett, and that's why he was looking for a trade. Look, he wanted to go win, right? But when you're talking about $40 million a year guaranteed, that's kind of hard to turn down. And then if we're talking about, with things like this whole Kawhi thing, if they giving him money under the table, right, through some other brand deals, through Shell Corps, you never know how they getting players this money. So
I'm gonna give my team I was most disappointed in, and it should be very obvious. It's my Baltimore Ravens. We've been smoking games like a smoker on a cold day outside. It's the
y'all vaping games.
Man, it's bad. So since John Harbaugh's been there, we done smoked off 17 games where we didn't have the lead in the fourth quarter. That's crazy amount of games to smoke. But let's get to it in that aspect. Let's dig a little deeper. Anybody that says Lamar had anything to do with this loss, I would look at you and say you didn't watch that game. I put it solely on the defense. we went into some weird safe play at the corner position. Matter of fact, in the whole secondary, and he was dinking and dunking this way. Yeah, King Henry had the fumble, but that defense is ultimately going to determine where we get to go.
Yeah.
I don't know. The last two coordinators, including the one we have now, they have this weird thing. This isn't college, right? This isn't college where you get to sit back and play prevent defense and you can waste time, right? Lamar Jackson threw for 200 yards and 2 TDs. Then he ran for 70 yards and 1 TD. And then King Henry was doing what he do best. He ran for 169 yards and 2 TDs. Like, there's no way these guys put up 40 points and we still lose. That has something to do with coaching. It has nothing to do with Lamar. And I'm not even mad at King Henry. You're allowed to have a mistake here and there, bro. My guy put it on the ground. He fumbles like maybe once or twice a year in an 18-game season. So I'm glad he got it out the way early. This is a heartbreaking loss. Because if you look at the Bills' schedule, they have an easy schedule. The divisions that they're playing, they're probably going to run through. And the only way they don't end up with the number 1 seed is if they would have lost to us. They would have lost to the Eagles. They would have lost to now Kansas City, who doesn't look like Kansas City, and the Texans, who don't look like the Texans. The only thing I could say is that Bills defense ain't that good either, but we also have a juggernaut of an offense. If our defense don't get better, we're wasting Lamar and Derrick Henry. If that defense doesn't put it together, I'm going to fly down there and ask to be the defensive coordinator. It's not that hard, man. But that's my disappointment. You guys got anything with that?
Yeah.
I totally agree.
No, go ahead, Coach.
I totally agree. I believe they wasted Lamar. And I believe that John Harbaugh, because I heard Rex Ryan say this. This is not the old Baltimore team from what was the coach name? Brian Billick. That was his name.
Let's pause for a second. They played really well when they were aggressive. When they went into that prevent defense or whatever crap they went to, where they let him dink and dunk, oh man, we're gonna let him run the timeout. You can't play safe on both ends of the ball and think nothing bad can come from it. Yeah. They played safe. Even on the 4th down, when it was 4th and 2, you got Derrick Henry and you have Lamar Jackson. The Bills knew what the Ravens had, and that's why they continued to press the issue with making sure they kept trying to score, because they knew what the Ravens had. There got to come a point in time where John Harbaugh says, okay, we got that MVP and we got that king. We got to go let them do them, even on 4th and 2. Anything 4th and 3, 4th and 2, you got to let them be that. This is a lesson learned. Hopefully we don't be talking about this later on in the season. That's all I'm going to say.
But let me just say this real quick. Because we were talking about teams having the ability to finish games earlier, right? Mm-hmm. I think it was Matt Rule. I'm not sure if you saw his halftime speech to his team. I think it was halftime speech to his team. And for me, and you're absolutely right, when you're talking about playing softer coverages, letting them throw the ball, right, hoping that the time's going to run out. Listen, you have to beat the wheel out of a team, right? And for me, until you can feel that they don't want anymore, right, that they just want to run the timeout because they're defeated and they're done, mm-hmm. Then maybe you take your foot off the gas. But until you get that feeling, if they're still throwing punches, you still got to bob and weave. You still got to throw punches, right? You still got to play the game. And for me, I'm the same way. I hate when these teams start playing these softer coverages, and then all of a sudden, this team that you've been beating all game scores more points in 8 minutes than they have in 3 quarters, right? And it's crazy because it's like, what were you doing for the last 3 quarters? Do that, right? It's not that hard.
It's
right?
not rocket science, bro.
Yeah, if you're winning 40-25, go back to the thing that you was doing to get that lead. So for me, you can't put it on Lamar, you can't put it on King Henry. Whoever was calling that defense, that's where the blame needs to go. Because listen, we talked about it last week. This is y'all's year, right? You got everything, right? You had everything on offense. You went and got Jared Alexander from the Packers, right? So you added to your defense at the corner position, right, to be able to ward off number 1, number 2 receivers, right? Play really tight. So I mean, I don't know if there's anything else that the Baltimore Ravens can add to their team to make them a better team, right? At some point, you just gotta, like I said, put the nail in the coffin. You have to beat the will out of that team to make them not want to play anymore. And
I agree with
the
you.
Ravens did not do that.
Agreed. So let's go to probably what's going to be our last topic. Give me a second. Go ahead and play this for you guys real quick. All right. The topic is, how do we feel about Kawhi's $28 million no-show, and what should the punishment be?
Is that NBA executives were suspicious of how Steve Ballmer's Clippers landed the most valuable free agent on the market, Kawhi Leonard. That the NBA did not find that Ballmer got Kawhi by sweetening their offer.
Mm-hmm.
But also that in March 2025, this celebrity-endorsed, multi-billion-dollar, allegedly fraudulent tree brokerage named Aspiration, which promises to clear your conscience and your emissions, they file for bankruptcy. And this is where the clue is. What David's looking at with his glasses on is a bankruptcy filing, and there's a list of creditors. The entities to which Aspiration, in all of their alleged fraudulence, still owes the most money. And what I noticed is what David is noticing right now, which is that on that list of creditors, up near the top, above the Boston Red Sox, is an LLC, a tiny little company that Aspiration owes $7 million. And that LLC's name, David, is what?
KL2 Aspire LLC.
And what does it list there under manager or member name?
Kawhi Leonard.
Whose NBA jersey number, just to connect all of the dots here, happens to be what?
Number 2.
All right, guys. You see, Pablo Torre is the one who broke this story. As you can see, he had evidence of what he came to with all he had. So, what do we think about this story, man?
That this stuff been going on. That it's been going on. And me and you, we kind of talk about this from time to time. And as you know, Yip and Jones probably know too, man, I'm a big LeBron fan. And I'm trying to figure out how the Clippers signing all these people. And I know they have numbered the max players. But I'm like, hey, well, maybe they know how to run their books better than everybody else. But this kind of stuff come out. So, I mean, Gilbert Arenas said it the other day up on this show. This stuff been going on. Steve Ballmer just got caught.
Go ahead.
And then I don't think it's Steve Ballmer. I think they trying to put all the blame on Kawhi.
I mean, Kawhi didn't pay himself, so you can't put.
No. I totally understand.
I don't care. I don't really care. I don't care about what happened. I really don't. This is what I'll say. Kawhi is making millions of dollars on and off the court, right? Now he's getting paid under the table. Steve Ballmer should pay the consequences if everything that they said happened, which means he should have some first round picks go and a heck of a fine. It's crazy because if you're dumb enough to get caught, then hey man, you gotta pay the price, bro. You gotta pay the price. But
Can
I
I
will
stop
say,
you right there?
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Like, is that a good enough punishment?
5 first round picks. Yeah. Well, so the last time this happened was with the Timberwolves and Joe Smith. They were paying him little contracts so they could sign people, but then they wanted to retain his bird rights and then give him a huge deal later, which means that they was trying to put a team around him, and they were trying to circumvent the system, basically. Well,
Yeah.
they lost 5 first round picks, and they had to pay a $3 million fine. I think you should lose the first round picks because you're not going to get the talent that you need, especially the Clippers are this close to being a horrible team, and we know this. Kawhi go out for another week or another year, and it's a wrap. I'm just to the point where I feel like I don't care until you get caught, and when you get caught, you pay the price. He tried to get in front of it. Steve Ballmer did, but it just doesn't make sense. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. And then there's paperwork that says it. Like, hey, Brody, it doesn't. It says they owe him money, not him investing money. That's crazy. What you feel about it, man? Josh?
So, I'm not really aware of their code of ethics or the NBA's code of ethics and what the punishment should be for something to this nature. But
well, I gave you the previous team who did it, which was 5 first round picks and 3.5 million. Do I believe the money should be more? Yes, but I do believe the first round picks are. You should feel it, like
no, I mean, but still, like I said, I don't know the policy well enough to really speak on that side of it. But if I'm just a fan of sports and I'm looking at it, on the outside looking in, to Josh's point, I'm not surprised by this at all. I think for the long time, especially in the NBA, the salary cap has just been a suggestion. They've also added in the luxury tax so that you can overpay for some players if you have it, and if the owners or the organization is liquid in some way, right, and not asset heavy. But people have been saying for years that it's just a suggestion. So one thing that I did write down here, I said the same thing that Josh said. In some of these leagues, it's like, okay, you say you're strapped for cash or you're up against the cap. You only have so much money, and then a player becomes available. And then, all of a sudden, the team that said that they didn't have any money, they're now in the running for acquiring said player. And, as a fan, you're like, well, how are they doing that? And then they'll hit you with this word salad, and they'll try to do these mental gymnastics to really do a bait and switch type of deal where they're saying, oh, well, we restructured this contract, right? We moved some money down the road, right? We paid some incentives up front in a contract. So now we don't have to worry about money on the back end so we can meet the cap deadline. So now with things like this coming out, we can see how they're actually moving. So one thing that I will say, because I was thinking about this and I was thinking about Tom Brady, right? And they were always like, oh, well, Tom Brady's taking the hometown discount. Tom Brady's taking a hometown discount because he wants to make sure that other players are getting paid, right? So they can put a team around him. It's crazy, right? Because Tom Brady never had an issue with it. Well, maybe, and I'm not saying this as fact, right? But if we're doing some, we're just thinking outside the box here, right? Well, why wasn't he ever upset about it, right? It's probably because
breaking news?
Robert Kraft was putting together some deals for him, right? Maybe through some shell corps, maybe through some
allegedly.
Allegedly, of course, right? Because I have no proof. I'm doing some mental gymnastics myself, some critical thinking, right?
I would say it's not like they've been caught cheating before or nothing. I mean,
yeah, sure, right? So, and Bill Belichick has always been someone who operated by bending the rules, right? So, bend but don't break, like they say with defense. But you look at somebody like him, right? He never had an issue, and they never had an issue with contract negotiations really until, I want to say, the end of his career. And it may be because of things like this. But, as these things come to light, you definitely have to hold the organization accountable. You have to hold the owners accountable. I don't know what the policy and the ethics codes and policies state for the NBA, but whatever they are, they have to be held to that standard.
Gotcha.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is not the only sport where this happens at. And people been talking about it for like a while. Like, we've been trying to figure out, like, why people staying for less money. Because I heard LeBron and them say something. They were talking with Andre Iguodala. Once you're labeled a certain salary price, you don't get labeled anything higher, like, anymore. Like, that's your price from now on. That's what we believe that your worth is. And I'm looking at football. They got a pretty hard cap. And like Jones was just saying, these people restructure contracts and they move money around, and people like Jones, like, let's look at Myles Garrett. Hey man, you wanted to get traded? And then I know them people threw crazy money at him. How much money did they really throw at him that we didn't see?
Why you gonna throw the Browns under the bus like that? They're already in enough trouble, man.
Well, and what I'll say to that real quick, and I know we're over time. We're one of those teams, right? I talked about the Deshaun Watson contract. Where we get this $40 million to pay Myles Garrett? We said we had no money to go get no other acquisitions, right? But all of a sudden, since Myles won't leave, now we got the money.
Myles, they watching your pocket, Myles.
And now the cap don't matter.
They watching your pockets, Myles. But look,
I'm happy he got paid me.
Look,
yeah, I'm happy that he got paid, but if we're talking about the logistics of the pay scale, and someone else, if they see this, they're like, oh, well, these guys don't know what they're talking about. They restructured it this way, and they moved the money this way, and it's legal and it's fair and blah blah blah. But they're only proving our point because they're moving and manipulating the monies within the salary cap. So, like I said, the salary cap itself is just an arbitrary number. It's a suggestion more than an hard. So
this is the end, and I want to end this on a good note. I want to talk to the world, so I want you guys to see me up close. Life is hard, and children often in this world don't get the love that they need. There's a lot of sports athletes, student athletes who go into the world each day and they live with doing things such as sports to get attention, not necessarily attention from colleges, but from their parents or the ones that love them. So I would say to all the parents out there, if you have the chance or you have the capability, go see your child. Like, take that time out and go see your child and give them that love, because I see all too much in today's society where the student athletes look to the stands and they don't have no one to look for. And it's kind of sad at times to see. And I usually talk to them and give them encouraging and uplifting. But we have to do better as a society in making sure these kids feel the love, not just for sports only, but just in general. But because we are a sports show, go out there and see your kids, man. F that job, take that day off, go see your kid. Leave work early. It's okay. Let them know 2 weeks in advance. And if they still say no, go ahead, get sick, and go see your child play. That's how I'm going to end it, guys. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you guys again next week. You guys have a great one.